I park it for the season. So that's my season's pretty much over. So
that's the worst feeling.
Yeah, no doubt. It is the worst feeling ever.
I rode Saturday and it was 82 degrees. It was amazing.
Oh.
Nice.
And your all's humidity's gone now too, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah, it was there Friday night and Saturday. There's some humidity. I mean, for the high for this time of year. But yeah, I mean, it's high of like 60 the last couple of days, which isn't bad. We'll take that all day long.
Sure.
But it was the opening weekend for deer season, rifle season. Nobody was happy about 80-degree weather then.
Oh yeah, I suppose not. Pretty tough to shoot a deer, and you got to process it right away. Otherwise, you're losing deer meat,
yeah.
right?
They're not moving much either when it's that warm.
Sure,
so.
sure, that makes sense.
But it was great motorcycle weather, so I took full advantage of that. You know, I went to this like bike car meet thing Saturday afternoon and knew it was going to be a lot of sport bikes. Didn't realize I was going to be one of 3 non-sport bikes there out of, 100, 120 bikes. So I was sticking out, like a mule at the Kentucky Derby. But it was fun. So I rode a bunch of them. They did a ride down to this graffiti wall, levee wall downtown, which I'm not far from. And man, I never rode in a pack of bikes that were doing wheelies and taking up every lane on the interstate. And I was way the hell back there like, man, I ain't dying today. There's no way, man. There were some cars getting pissed off, trying to pass us, trying to push people out of the way, pass in an emergency lane. It got a little sketchy there for a while. I was heading home either way. I had to take that way, but I was at the back of the pack, like just trying to mind my own business.
Way out of the normal for you, right?
Yeah. It was. Like I said, mule at the Kentucky Derby. So.
Does not make for a fun group ride, that's for sure.
No, that's
good for them. That's their thing. This
I don't like that.
Ain't mine.
Yeah, that's not my jam either.
Nah, it was pretty wild.
Well, hey, listen, we have a special guest on tonight. Our what is it? 24th episode, I believe.
Yes.
So pretty nice. And for those of you who know him or don't know him, we have BrytheBiker on. And so, Bry, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the podcast world?
Oh, I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener.
Welcome to Moto State Podcast, where we talk about motorcycles, life, and everything in between.
It's been, I grew up in a small African village. No. So I'm BrytheBiker. I'm in Edgewater Park, New Jersey, Burlington County, in the great state Republic of New Jersey. Let's see, I've had a YouTube channel since 2019. My channel's gone through, 3 bikes now. I concentrate mostly on installs and reviews. Let's see. Had a podcast at one point. I still sit in on a few, and pleasure to be here. Wow, I hate talking about myself.
Well, Bry, how long has it been? I mean, was it 2019 when we connected, or was it a little bit later? I don't remember. I mean, it's been a hot minute.
I want to say it was right around the pandemic, wasn't it? Because when you guys had Blockhead on.
Yep.
So I know that was right about that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it was probably 2020 then, is when you and I connected. So yeah. That's been it's been a few years. We've had Bry and I have had a long distance relationship since we met. We haven't actually
Congratulations.
haven't had an opportunity to meet in person. But there's all those long nights of texting. When it's the long cold winters, it's always kept me warm.
Yeah.
So,
like, so what are you wearing? He's like a blanket. He's really cold. A parka.
A flannel.
Lit out of his parka.
The blanket's actually just body hair because he's probably a hairy motherfucker.
Fucking Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fun.
So it's
been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to be a third wheel. This is really great. I was not expecting this to be this kind of third wheel tonight. So really appreciate this, guys.
Hey, there's a market for everything.
right? So you said your channel's been through 3 bikes, but you have been through many more than 3 bikes. So
Oh,
what was
Christ,
it?
yeah.
So you started. I was telling Luke this today. In fact, you started on like a 70cc scooter, didn't you? Wasn't it something
I
like
started
that?
on a 400cc Bergman scooter.
Okay, 400cc Bergman.
Yeah.
Okay,
Taught myself how to ride. I pulled out in the street, made a left-hand turn. The car was coming. Almost took it out into a telephone pole. It was good times. That's how we all start.
yeah. And
When in doubt, use
Baptism
throttle.
by fire. Here we
right.
go.
And what did you take? Did you take your license test on the scooter?
No, I actually took it to the class, and I found it to be a little distracting. Trying to figure it out. Not figure it out, but I didn't like it. So I took it on, I passed on a manual bike on a 250.
Okay.
Then I rode home at night, never having ridden home from night because you can't with a permit. It's like, well, congratulations. You're now certified to ride 20 miles an hour in a parking lot. Good luck.
Right. What?
That translates well. That's
Yeah.
fine.
What
It's the
size?
truth, though. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
What size bike did you take your license test in, Luke?
I did mine through the Harley dealership. So
Oh, did you?
they're
Okay.
they're about in Missouri. If you can do everything at the Harley dealership and then just take your certificate to the DMV.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Because at the
Yeah.
time I didn't have a motorcycle, so and I wasn't about to ask someone to borrow one. Hey,
Right.
brand new rider, can I borrow your bike? Like, yeah, kiss my ass. So
Right. So you went and took your test before you got a bike then. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I bought my bike and didn't have my license, so I kind of did it that way. Rode dirty for a hot minute and then got my endorsement. I think I rode for a full season actually before I got my license.
if the bike had not been in Tennessee, I mean, my heritage was just waiting on me. It was just timing. I didn't have an opportunity to get down and get it first.
Sure.
So, whatever.
Yeah, I think if we PA is kind of cool. They actually give you the bikes. The only thing you need to show up with is boots and a long shirt. They have helmets, and not that I'd wear somebody else's helmet, but bikes and the whole 9 yards, and it's free, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh,
Okay.
that's cool.
Because I always tell people, like, if you have a weekend, you don't know what you're going to do, just go take the class. And seriously, like, what's the worst that could happen?
Right, exactly.
So Bri, you started out on this 400cc scooter, and then you went to what was your next bike?
So I took a huge leap, and I bought a Bergman 650 scooter.
Okay.
Which, and then I bought so this is all in the first year. I think I got my license in April. So I bought the Bergman scooter after I did Route 6. And then I wound up at the end of the year buying a KLR 650.
That's right. Okay, so
That
KLR
was
650. Yep.
fun bike.
Yep. And then what did you graduate to after the KLR? What was your next
The
bike?
KLR 650, I met my wife. We bought the Intruder 1500.
Yep. Okay.
Somewhere along the way,
That's a Suzuki, right?
Yeah, Suzuki 1500. It's the prerequisite to the hell's the new one? I forget, whatever they call the newer ones.
Okay.
But then I had that. My wife got a Palagio 250 scooter that was gifted to us by a guy in our complex who didn't want any more. I had a Versus 650, and then I moved from the 650 to the Ultra Limited, from the Ultra Limited to the Road Glide, and then to the Goldwing.
Okay.
I have the new design Goldwing, the 2021.
2021. All right. So
I may have an addiction. I have a habit.
hey, I think, one of my friends, Walter, said to me one time when I asked him when he was going to stop buying motorcycles, he said to me, when I've bought them all and ridden them all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
Fair.
yeah, I mean, he does this really cool thing where he finds a really great deal on a motorcycle. He buys it, he puts a couple baubles on it, rides it for a while, rents it. So he does that ride share thing, or I'm not even sure what it's called for motorcycles, and then he flips them, right? And so once he's over it, he flips it and gets a different bike. And so when I was out at his place in Maryland for Dave's per service, he had 3 bikes in his garage at that point in time. So yeah, so he likes to ride them all, kind of like you do. So
A buddy of mine's got, I want to say 30 bikes.
what's
Holy
that?
shit.
A buddy of mine's got 30 bikes.
Like
Give or
right
take.
now, he has 30 motorcycles.
Uh-huh.
That's
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
But 30 bikes, like 30, like he's got 20 that would probably cost him $1,500 each, or
Yeah,
he's
hey, I mean,
got
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So he's got a Fat Boy Anniversary with a sidecar. He's got two TW250s. He's got, I want to say a 1200 or 1250 BMW. He's got a ton of stuff.
so just a wide range of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because, let's face it, if I won the lottery, I'd have at least 3 to 4 bikes. You can cover all the categories.
Right,
It'd
right.
be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that has been to a few of our meetups, and he was at Uranus when you were out there, Luke. He goes by John Doe on our
John Doe.
Yep, on our Discord. He
Yeah.
has a number of bikes. I think he's got maybe 10.
Wow.
So yeah, he's got a lot, and he's got a variety of different. He's got a couple of Harleys and a couple of Indians, and like a bobber, like a
Sure.
like an old Honda that's made into a bobber, and yeah, he's got a variety of motorcycles that he keeps around out at his place too. So sometimes people are connoisseurs and collectors. It just happens that way, right?
There's a lot to be said for having at least 2 bikes.
Yeah, so I think really, one of the reasons why we brought you in today, Bry, is that
Stunning good looks.
besides that is
So does my helmet collection.
right, is that you did something that some would say controversial, some would say foolish, some everybody's going to have an opinion on it, but you traded your Road Glide for a Goldwing. And you and I have talked briefly about it, but I want to get into the nuts and bolts of this. I want you to give me the unabridged, the dissected, undissected and dissected version of like what, was there a line in the sand? What made you do this? What was your, kind of walk me through the steps. First, let's do this. Let's tell everybody the Road Glide that you had, and then what you did to it to kind of make it comfortable and all the accoutrements to so that it was kind of ready and set up for you.
So I had a Road Glide 2020 limited. Let's see, it was stage 2 bike, had a TTS cam in it, full Chromeworks exhaust, Mustang seat, clear view windshield, custom dynamics lighting all the way around, Evan black bags, Legend suspension in the rear. I'm trying to think what else I had. God, there's a lot of stuff on that bike. Well, let's just call it that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff done to that bike.
And some of it was done before you got it, but you did some things for comfort and
Correct.
I think you got a different windshield for it, right? You upgrade. I know you upgraded all the lighting for safety and visibility and kind of all those kind of things. So you changed the bars too, if I'm not mistaken, right? At some point.
When I got it, I had 14-inch bars on it.
Yep.
And that's where it stayed. I had a love-hate with those.
Sure. So, but essentially you had it set up so that you could ride 2-up with your wife, right? And I know you took it to events. How long did you have it? Do you have it for 2 years?
3 years.
3 years. I know you took it to some events. I know you took it on a road trip. You had that bike when you guys went to Niagara Falls, right?
No, it was the Ultra.
Oh, that was the Ultra. Okay.
That was the Pandemic Fun Fest. That was, man, if you ever had a chance to, I never want to see that again, but to travel during the pandemic was phenomenal.
Yeah. We did actually. We drove all through the upper Midwest. Now we didn't get into any big cities like you guys did, Kansas City kind of, but yeah, it was pretty amazing. Not like riding through Buffalo or New York City or any of those big cities during that time. Washington D.C. Our friend Dave put out a great video on Washington D.C. and he pretty much parked right in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and there was nobody there. It was the most bizarre thing you'd ever see.
In retrospect, I would have given anything, and I'll never get the chance to do it now, is to go to New York City.
Yeah.
That would have been phenomenal, because I know at least down here, like by the shore, it was like the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
There was nobody.
Well, I mean, I've talked to people, they were ripping down through downtown, right on sidewalks, whatever. Didn't matter. Police weren't going to stop you. There's nobody around.
Yep.
Just wild, wild west out there.
Yeah, we were. Awesome. My family was actually in New York literally 2 days, the day before they shut down Broadway. So my daughter had a concert in Carnegie Hall, and it was the last day before Carnegie shut down. And one day before Broadway shut down, and we flew out on a Monday, and on Tuesday they shut down the airports in New York. So we barely made it out of New York right when the pandemic kind of blew up. So, everybody's got a crazy story. So, what was the biggest trip that you took on your Ultra, Bry?
The Ultra. I'm trying to think.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, on your Road Glide Ultra. Yeah.
On the Road Glide Ultra, I don't know. We didn't travel a whole lot on the Ultra. We did. We did some big rides, but we never did. I don't think we did any overnights on it. Come to think of it.
Okay.
Now the limit is what we did the most traveling on.
Okay. So without doing any comparisons, what about the Road Glide would you say you liked, and what were your main complaints, your dislikes about it?
I mean, the Road Glide's sexy as hell. I mean, that bike just, especially in that billiard red and the black. I mean, that bike's phenomenal looking. I'm trying to think. I really liked it. The fairing is a lot larger than some other bikes. The bike that I replaced it with, the sound of it. I mean, those Chromeworks exhausts just sound phenomenal. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about it. You were saying about rides. So I did about a 500-mile day on the bike. It's an extremely comfortable bike. The one thing I did learn to hate with that bike is the infotainment center, because we were riding two up.
Yeah.
You can only use the Senna 50Ss, and we had nothing but trouble with them.
Okay.
You'd be riding and you would just drop out, or it would go into intercom mode a lot. The nav system was very unreliable in the sense that it seemed to kind of come and go. And I don't know that it seems like that's a Harley thing, because the Limited did the same thing, and that was the GT, not the GTS system. The other thing that was getting tough for me, and especially for my wife, is that when we had the bike set up, we either could set it up for me or we could set it up for her and I. There was no in between, especially with the Legends. It was really hard you couldn't just jump her. She couldn't get off the bike, and I couldn't just make an adjustment. And that was the thing that was becoming really hard. The Limited or the Limited also was a lot heavier than, I shouldn't say it was a lot heavier. It became heavier and harder to manage for me. I busted up my knee as a kid, and now, it's coming up on my mid-50s. It was a lot to push around. Our back driveway has a slight incline, so it was really hard to kind of get that bike to move around. The 14-inch bars look really good, but it's an absolute bitch when you have to move the bike around like that.
Sure.
I found, for whatever reason, the bike really ran hot on me, even though it was tuned. So there was a couple of times where it seemed to just smoke, as far as especially from my wife's perspective, from sitting on the back. I don't have complaints. People always ask me, they're like, "Oh my God, why would you get rid of it?" It just wasn't for us. Do you know what I mean? I had the Ultra Limited for 3 years. We had the Road Glide for 3 years, and I'm not gonna lie. As much as I was a component for the Road Glide, I think the Limited might have been a better fit. I really do. I hate to. I'm gonna eat some crow in that decision, but
right. So
yeah.
Now, do you have lowers on your bike? Did you have lowers on that one? I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay.
The Limited and the Ultra both have lowers on.
Okay. And do you have lowers on yours, Luke?
No.
Okay. So I can say from experience, and now I know that you have yours had the 114, and it was obviously had a stage 2 114. There is a significant difference in those touring bikes when you put lowers on. For whatever reason, the lowers trap a lot more heat. And I noticed a huge difference in my bike once I took the lowers off, because I ran lowers on mine for probably 3 or 4 years. And it really was a hotter running feeling on your legs, especially when it got really hot. You could feel the temperature difference. Now, without the lowers, significantly cooler.
Sure.
Yeah, so I I did notice that, so that's why I asked Luke. I wasn't sure if he had them. Now, you know, the upside is that if you're ever riding in weather or rain, those lowers are, I mean, there's nothing better. You tuck your feet up underneath them, and your boots aren't going to get a drop of water on them. And a lot of your lower leg stays pretty dry unless you're in a really torrential downpour that it's just pouring down your legs. But they do a great job at protecting you from the elements for sure. I mean, especially if you're riding in cooler weather, you have lowers on there. If you have lowers and heated grips and some, you know, a giant fairing, you can keep a lot of the air off your body. I mean, you know, without a doubt. So you found the suspension adjustment to be not very user friendly to be able to ride 2 up to 1 up, and the bike ran hot. You like the way that it sounded. It was heavy. That was the other thing. And now, and I will say this, and I have had this conversation before, and maybe I'm going to sound like a wussy saying this, but I could see myself downsizing my bike as I get older because of the weight of the motorcycle, without a doubt.
Sure.
Because, you know, once I find my bike to be very manageable when it's in its just rideable form. But as soon as I pack my bike out to go anywhere, it is really fucking heavy. And when you get, I think Luke and I were talking about this, you get 600 miles, 650, 700 miles into a day, and you're making that last stop at a gas stop, man, you better get your feet underneath you quick, because if you don't, you're going to dump your bike right on the gas station, because you just, you know, you don't realize how tired you are, and you don't realize how heavy your bike has gotten, because they really do feel much lighter when you're not moving, or when you're moving, I should say. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. They, you know, people always talk about the flickability of the bike, right? Even when they're fully loaded down, the bike is very maneuverable, you know, when it's moving. But man, when that thing's not moving, holy balls, they're heavy loaded down.
Yeah, I've dropped mine more than once.
Yeah, after a long, hot, heavy, long, hot day, and then, you know, you got the weight of that bike on top of it. It's. I mean, I have a street glide, so, but I don't have lowers, and I have tour packs only on for long distance rides. But yeah, it's, at the end of the day, it's heavy, and I see myself one day like you. I have bad knees. I've had 5 knee surgeries, so I know as I get older, that's going to impact me at some point. So like a lowrider ST or something of that nature, I can still do. I still got some bags. I got storage, and I can still move it around a little bit easier and take long rides.
I mean, I find two up riding is exhausting, especially, you know, like Ryan was saying, at the end of the day, or stop and start traffic's the worst. Oh my God.
Yeah, it is a lot. Well,
two up. I love 2 up as long as I'm not stop and go. Like if we're just ripping all day, cool. But man,
on the highway or something, it's phenomenal.
It's great. Back roads, you know, where it's pretty open. But
highways,
man,
stop and go sucks. Well, it's
stop and go. Where you at?
Yeah, well, that, and every time you get to an intersection, and when you're in stop and go traffic, your passenger shifts their weight around and moves. And if you're not planted and paying attention, man, that shit is going down. You know, I mean, you got to really be on your game when you're riding 2 up. It does make a significant difference in what your bike feels like and how it handles and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, even where your shifting point is, and, you know, all of the things that you get used to when you're riding by yourself is different when your bike is loaded down and you have a passenger on it. So
I always find that, I don't know what the technical term is, but what I would call the tip over point, where you go to stop and you're not quite stopped, and you know the bike's going to drop. Yeah. And it's always that with a passenger on it, especially when you change bikes, you're like, all right, where's that point?
Right.
Like, where's that exact point where the bike's going to start going?
Right. Yeah, that happened. That happened to me with my wife on the back. We were making a kind of a U-turn in a gas station parking lot, and some dude in some truck just like whipped right into this parking spot when we were making a U-turn. And I did the classic, I'm in the middle of a U-turn and I brake, and that brake tipped us right over. Luckily, man, my wife was like on it, because we were tipping over, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, get off the bike, we're tipping over." And she jumped over and she muscled that thing right back up with me, so the bike never hit the ground, but we were tipping over
Damn.
and she had to jump off it. So
Buy her a steak
That's-
dinner. Damn.
right. And you know what it did? It messes with your psyche. You know what I mean? Like, we're on this road trip, and the last thing I'm trying to do is tip over, and then all of a sudden I tip over in a parking lot. It just that stuff is super frustrating. But
Like the guy that got a new bike and dropped it on his first road trip with his buddy.
Never heard that before.
I'm like buying another 800-hour bag. Wait.
okay, so let's fast forward to you've got the Road Glide. You're you're 2 years, 3 years into it. How far into your ownership of that motorcycle did you start thinking, this bike's maybe not for me? When realistically, when did you start thinking about that?
Oh boy. I think it was very much in this. To me, it was something I really wanted. The heart wants what the heart wants.
Right.
I wish there were other bikes that I would have test rode. The BMW 1600 series was on my list. There's reasons that wouldn't work for us currently, but it was sort of one of those things where, the first year, the second year, it was good. And I found myself struggling, like the third year with the bike. It became difficult, especially with getting in and out of the driveway, because we have a little bit wider of a single car driveway. So you kind of have to put the cars aside. And I may or may not have dropped the bike into my wife's car. That was a conversation. My wife comes out, the bike's okay. I'm like, I'm not worried about it. It's my ego. This just
Yeah.
and then we went out for that ride to Easton, and that was the ride where we were having all the problems with the comms. The bike just seemed like it was really hot. We went into a parking garage. I damn near dropped it, backing it up because I hit oil. It was just that perfect storm of
Right.
we're sitting in this bar, and my wife says to me, "So well done. If there ever comes a point when we need to switch bikes, just let me know." And I was like, there it is. There's the sign. Well, it's funny you asked.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah, now you mentioned it. There's a bunch of bikes I'd like to test drive. It is what it is. I've never owned a motorcycle that I was completely attached to. I've always enjoyed trying different things. Looking back, I'd give anything to have my KLR back, because that bike was just a monster. But to me, I think it evolves, and it evolves with your age and what you're doing. If my wife stopped riding with me tomorrow, I'd go out and buy a 1250 BMW GS, and that would be the end of it. I wouldn't even think about it. Then I'd probably in 3 years get rid of it. It really, for me, it just got to the point where it wasn't working, and I've always been the type of person, it's like, it's not working. If it's not working, and I was noticing more and more I wasn't riding it, so then what's the point, right? You're paying on a bike that's sitting in your shed going, oh, okay, well, it looks good.
Either you don't ride it, or you're going to force it and not be happy, right? And so it's really a lose-lose situation.
And I'm very, very aware of my headspace and things like that. If I'm not into it, I'm not riding.
Sure.
And that was getting to be more and more, because I didn't realize how, I hate to say it, I was getting intimidated. I was afraid of it. I wasn't so much afraid of it, like you were saying, with riding it. It was the low speed kind of dealing with it, and it just wasn't enjoyable. And when it's not enjoyable, you just don't feel like doing it.
Right. It's very much how I view myself. Riding in the spring of the year versus the fall of the year. In the spring of the year, I'll get on my bike when it's 45 degrees, no problem, because I haven't been on it in months and months and months. But at the end of the season, after I've ridden, through the season, 45 degrees is not something I want to do, because it feels cold. You know what I mean? And in the spring, 45 degrees feels enjoyable, right? Because you're out, and that warm weather's right around the corner, and you're getting on your bike again after it's been parked all winter, and that kind of stuff. So no, I completely get it. It's interesting that you mention it, because you talk about getting in your headspace. You talk about you were kind of aware of how you were feeling about it. It wasn't enjoyable anymore. You were intimidated by it. I mean, those are some pretty bold things to say, because not a lot of people are going to get out there and say, hey, like I had to get rid of this bike because it might have been just too much for me. It was too big. It was too heavy. It was, not really doing it for me. And I also think it's interesting now. I know you, and I know your path through motorcycles, and this is why I wanted you to talk about your path through motorcycles, right? Because I feel like there's some people out there that they feel like the path through motorcycles is great, and once you land on Harley, that's where you're supposed to end, right? Your path is supposed to end at the Harley and just stay at the Harley, and that's where your path is supposed to end, right? And that's why I said, tell us your path, because I wanted everybody to hear all of that. So you changing from your Road Glide to a Goldwing, to me, wasn't a leap at all, right? Like I wasn't like totally surprised when I saw that you had gotten a Goldwing. I was more like, yeah, this makes sense, right? Kind of like you said, the evolution of it all. So now take me to the Goldwing. So, or no, I'm sorry. Let's go back. You got to the point where you're intimidated. You weren't feeling it. So what was the next step? You kind of, your wife, you go on this ride. Some things happen that really, kind of set this off. She says, hey, if you're ever looking at getting something different, let me know. And so did you immediately go home and say, funny thing, you should say that because I'm already there? Or
No, we were actually we were sitting at the bar, and I pulled up Psycho Trader, and I'm like, look, we could get a BMW, we get a GTL, we could get a Grand America. We had looked at the Goldwing when it first came out, the 2018 version, which has a smaller tour pack and so forth. We looked at that version. I think it was around the time. Oh yeah, it had to be. So it was that was right before we bought the Ultra. And at the time, you could obviously only buy one new. And new, I want to say they were 30 grand, and we picked up our limited for 15. So from a financial standpoint, it's kind of hard to argue.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. But that's always been that was a bike that we had always had in kind of our peripheral. I know a couple of people that have. My buddy Big Smitty has one. And everyone that I know loves them. And my direct next door neighbor has the 25th year anniversary of the Goldwing. Well, granted, it's like twice the size of mine, but he's had it forever, and everybody I know, runs them into the ground, or at least you could, whether you do or not.
Sure.
We looked at the GS, we looked at the GTL. The only problem with those bikes is my wife's very uncomfortable when she's not locked into the bike, and with the wraparound tour pack, and it locks her hips in. That's what she really prefers to have. The Grand America doesn't have that. Your hips are kind of floating free, but then you have those locked in armrests. And if you ride two up, especially because I love to ride with my wife, it's a balance of like what you want and what she wants, and sometimes you make it. We were at a dealership the other week, and I had a chance to sit on the GTL with her. She couldn't even get on it. She's like, this bike's too high. I'm so uncomfortable even trying to get on. I'm like, all right, well.
Sure.
Yeah, a little give and take there with your partner, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because everybody will tell you, oh, you need this, you need that. I'm like, yeah, but when it's both of you, you've got to find a happy medium.
So you had already, so once you decided to sell your Harley, you'd already made the decision that the Goldwing was going to be the bike that you were going to go to. Was that kind of your?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
We have been looking really heavily. I was looking at 2021 is when the Goldwing got the larger tour pack where you can fit two full-size modular helmets in it, two like large modular helmets with comms. The older ones, I've heard different stories and I've never tried it, but you can only fit maybe one helmet, maybe two if it's like a small and a medium, and you got to play Jenga with them. That was the one thing that, and you guys know that with the Limited, you have all the space in the world. You can put a helmet in there without cramping it. And you get spoiled by that. If we didn't have it and you had to hang the helmets on the side of the bike, you didn't have it, you wouldn't notice it. But we didn't want to go backwards. So we had really held out for the 2021. We found one in a Harley dealership.
Oh wow.
If you ever want to feel rage, go into a Harley dealership and be like, hey, I got this Road Glide and I want to trade in that Goldwing over there. The hatred. Oh, it was brilliant.
So you didn't get, so when you bought it, you didn't get the, I just bought my motorcycle from such and such Harley Davidson. They didn't
When
give
they
you the
gave
free
me a T-shirt, they let me ring the bell, but I think they knew because I told them I wanted to shoot a video. But I literally, I put a deposit on it because they're really hard to find in this area. Used. I walk in. It's a Friday night. We were supposed to pick the bike up Saturday. Friday, we just popped in to see it. And the girl literally pointed across the dealership and went, "It's over there in the corner," and walked away. And I'm like, this is going to be the best purchase ever.
Yeah. Yeah, there's your damn bike.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good luck.
so you're trading a Harley for a Honda at a Harley dealership. Were they fair?
Mm-hmm.
Were they fair in your?
They were. I mean, the Rushmore bikes took a beating. I think when I got my bike used, I want to say it was in the high 20s, and that was a realistic price for a bike that size. Now they're like 20 grand because the minute they cut to the new versions, the market fell out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's good and bad. I mean, it is what it is, and that's what I kind of always keep in mind. Is like it sucks when you trade it in, but my bike wasn't clean. It had some damage to it because it dropped it. I don't know if every dealership's the same way, but the minute you had it cammed and it wasn't done by them, then it gets flagged in the system because they don't want to sell it, and it just becomes nonsense. The deal was decent. I wouldn't say it was great. The downside of buying a bike like that in a non-Honda dealership is they knew nothing about it. They couldn't tell you anything worked. I'm an IT nerd, so I went out and I did the research beforehand, but they had no idea what it did. They had no idea how it worked. I took it out. They didn't even put air in the tires. So it's just like, here, take it out. Good luck. It was an experience. It was even better when we came back and the girl very snobbishly asked my wife how she likes it. She's like, "Oh my God, this is so much better than the Road Glide. This is just getting better."
That's great. I love
awesome.
it.
So,
and I just want to, I mean, for anybody's listening to, I'm not a snob. You like what you like and it works for you, and I like the Pan America, but again, it wouldn't work out for both of us.
right.
But
Well,
that was an amusing experience.
I learned really quick that, I mean, when I rode a Pan America around for a day, everything about even getting on a motorcycle is different on the Pan America than it is on your regular bike. You can't get on it the same way because you can't get on it the same way, right?
Yeah.
It's an adventure bike. They're taller. The suspension is different. It's set up differently. You have to. It's either on the center stand or on the side stand, and you step on the peg and swing your leg over. You step up onto the bike. You don't step over it or swing your leg onto it. So it's a different, it's kind of a different style. But okay, so you go to the dealership. The dealership's not super excited that you're trading in a Harley for the Honda. You got it at a Harley dealership, so that's interesting. They knew nothing about the bike. You buy the bike and you bring it home. And what do you do first? Do you just make sure everything works and air up the tires and ride it around or did you already know that there was some things that weren't going to work for you?
I put air in the tires, obviously, right? I took it out and I rode home from North Jersey, so it was about an hour and 15-minute ride home. I found out it did triple digits with no problem.
Oops. How'd that happen?
What's that?
Oops,
Yeah,
how did that happen? What? Huh?
My wife has a relationship with the state police. They're not going to arrest me. They don't. I don't know how it is with you. They don't pursue bikes in New Jersey, so it's kind of a free for all. But I took it home, looked it over, did some. In the dealership, I set my comm up, so I had my Cardo set up with it and my Schuberth, and then drove it home. Messed around with it for a few minutes. Took my wife out to dinner on it, and it was super comfortable. There wasn't a hard. There's certainly a big transition, but it wasn't a transition where, say, when I got the Intruder and I only had an adventure bike, where I was a little gun shy of making sure my wife was comfortable on it. I mean, this from her perspective, just in the fit of it, is pretty much the Road Glider Limited. It's not that much different. Now, when you add in the suspension and the airflow and things like that, it's different.
Okay. So
But
so you take take it out, or you bring it home. What were the let me tell you, or let me what were the first things that stood out to you that were better than the Road Glide?
the electronic suspension is phenomenal, and that was always the give and take. Is that if I'm on the bike by myself with the Legends, it was extremely rough. If my wife was on the bike, it was extremely smooth. But we had to make a balance, and this is the one thing that I was really interested in finding was something that had electronic suspension, so I had presets. Could you theoretically do it with the Legends? Yeah, but it's going to take a lot of work. You're going to have to be out there with a ruler and measuring it and playing with it, and they're very sensitive. That was one of the key elements that I really liked. The weight, because it has the horizontally opposed 6-cylinder engine, is so low that it's very easy to manage the bike. Now, the tip point's different because I feel like when it starts to tip, it's right there. It's not like the Harley where there's a little bit of leeway to it. Like it goes easy. The engine protection and the tip over protection is non-existent. Proved that in the first 3 weeks.
On the Honda, on the Goldwing?
On the Honda,
okay.
yeah.
Non-existent. Okay.
The older one, they had cages around the motor. I don't understand how they put out a horizontally opposed motor with no guards on it.
Okay.
That has their tip over protection is basically these two little bars that stick out about that much. Now, if you were to set it down, no problem.
Sure.
But if you're going to drop it, or in my case, doing a U-turn and I hit lock and I wasn't prepared for it and I hit the throttle, it dropped it and drug it. And I fell under the bike, had my foot trapped. That wasn't fun. but I think what Honda did is they wanted to make a sport touring bike and they wanted to have it sleek, and they didn't want to, me, it's stupid. It's incredibly stupid, but that's the decision they made. I've put engine guards and bag guards on it now, so it's a lot better. But that's really all I've done. I take that back. I did that. I put the windshield on it, the Clearview windshield, and then the saddlement seat that I've been playing with.
Okay. Okay. So that's interesting. So still, even with the Honda, the stock seat was not good enough.
No, stock seat was fine. I had a chance to review one, and I really wanted to try a Saddleman Road Sofa. It was a heated one too. I haven't had a chance to try a Saddleman. I wanted to try that. I love the look of it, but the nice part too with the Honda is it has a heated seat and has a heated passenger backrest.
Oh wow!
So I mean, from a touring aspect, it offers a lot. Now the downside is when you go to a non-OEM seat, you've got to deal with some things that are kind of stupid. Because if you've had a heated seat from a non-heated bike, you've got the rockers on the seat. With the Goldwing, with the stock seat, you can control that from the dashboard.
Okay.
And then Kate can reach, and she's got a wheel that can adjust the heat and so forth. So it's a little different. It doesn't have the OEM controls. But no, the seat's good. The seat's good. It actually has this weird, it's not velvet. I don't know how to explain it. But you actually stick to the seat.
Oh, it's like almost like a felt kind of material.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I've seen that before in some seats, and some of them I've seen like that felt material. Actually, I've seen a couple of them where if you pour a glass of water on it, it beads off it completely. Like it's this weird thing where it's very it's very good. Like makes you feel locked in, but it also beads off water. Not all of them are like that. I've just seen it. I've just seen a couple like that. So, you complained about issues with the tech with the Road Glide. What was the tech like on the Goldwing?
Oh, you can call me out on this shit. I think the tech on the Goldwing, that's another thing that needs improvement. With the Limited and the Ultra, you could connect both your Sennas to the bike, and then you could play music and had your comms. With the Goldwing, as the rider, I attach to the bike, and then Kate attaches to me with the Cardo, so that she doesn't have attachment to the bike itself.
Sure.
That's a little kludgy. I don't quite understand why they did that, especially for a bike that's got a 50-year legacy of touring.
Right.
The navigation system's a little antiquated. And they've done away with that in 2015 because I guess, let's face it, right? Everything changes so fast.
Yep.
The navigation systems are so out of date.
What's the so what year is your Goldwing?
2021.
2021. Okay. And so the navigation system still feels antiquated. Is it worse than the Harley or better than the Harley?
It's definitely worse than the Harley.
Oh, okay.
Well, but it's also a preference thing because I had 2 Harleys, so I have 6 years of using a certain system, give or
Sure.
take.
Yep.
I understand they're different with the GTS, but this has CarPlay. So I mean, if you're using CarPlay, it's CarPlay, right?
Right.
It just works.
Right.
Sure.
And that's really what I like about it with having the live navigation. I mean, it's a give and take. You have a lot less storage. So you have a lot less storage than you do with the Ultra Limited. But getting back to weight, that's not really for me personally an issue. I can tell you, I understand why a lot of people with the wings use trailers. Because you have that weight down low and it's off the bike. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, overall, I think it's a fantastic bike. Like I said, you have the tip over protection, which is an issue, clearly. The way the comms work are a little weird, but the Cardos work great. I mean, once you get them set up, they're perfect.
What was your? So what's the weight difference between the Goldwing that you have now and your Road Glide?
Give or take, it's about 100 pounds.
So it's 100 pounds less, I'm assuming, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, let's compare motors. You had the 114 that was cammed in your Harley, right? So the 114, is that a 19 something? What's the cubic inch of that when it's? Do you know what's the cubic inch, Luke? Do you know of a 114?
I can't remember.
Because I know mine's a 107. It's like 1780. It's like
It's probably 18.
Probably 72.
More.
That could be right. 70. No, hold on. I'm doing math wrong. Like I'm a banker or something. I'm really good with numbers.
Pretend it's
Yeah,
a morning.
it's probably about 1800, right? It's probably about 1800 cc's, wouldn't you say the 114
That'd probably be right. Yeah.
right?
With the drop-in cam, it was doing 110 at the rear wheel horsepower.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because I know that with mine cammed, it's like 100 and 100, right? I was able to get about 100 horsepower and 100 foot-pounds of torque when I put a cam in. So it would make sense that yours is about 110 with the 114.
Yeah,
So
I don't have.
What's the engine size? You said this is the Oppose 6-cylinder. What's the engine size?
It's an 1800.
1800.
I don't know what it actually is on paper, but that's
Right.
what they
1800, okay.
label it as.
So what does it feel like in the seat when you're riding it? What's the difference between the two bikes and the seat riding it?
Oh, it's night and day.
Like, okay,
I mean,
what does that mean though?
The Harley has a very primal feel to it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, especially if you're putting like with the full exhaust. I mean, that
Yep.
thing just sounded like the dogs of the war.
Right. God
Gates of
of
hell.
Thunder is coming down the block.
Right?
Right?
Thunder when it came. The Goldwing is obviously not loud. It's incredibly smooth though. I mean, you can. So I think 5th and 6th are actually overdrive. 5th
Okay.
is a 1-to-1. 6th is a true overdrive. I mean, you can just generally stay 1 through 4. I don't notice it like I when I first got it, the second or third day I was out. I was pulling out at stop signs in 3rd gear. And I'm not saying you couldn't do it with the Harley, but there was no chugging. It just
Right.
rolled.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What's the
I tell you, hey, hold on one second. So 114 is 1868 cubic or cc.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So just put that in perspective. And God of Thunder, I saw that movie once. It wasn't very good. Some midgets in it or something.
Oh, midgets make
So your motor on your Goldwing is actually a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna venture to guess because I know a little bit about the difference between Harley. They typically have higher torque. They usually pull like a freight train versus your import style bikes are almost all quicker. Was that what you would say? Would you say that this bike was quicker?
Also lighter.
Well, it's lighter, it's quicker, but from what I've seen, and it's all over the place, the numbers that I've seen, it's 125 horsepower at the crank.
Okay.
And it's about 125 pounds of torque.
Okay.
My Road Glide was 120 on a dyno.
Sure.
From a butt dyno, can you really tell the difference? No.
Right. Okay.
And the speed's weird too because with the Harley, it would get so loud, especially when you got into like that 3 to 4,000 RPM. If you're really, that's where my cam was in the middle range.
Yep.
The Road Glide's so quiet, but it's so quick.
The
And
Gold Wing, you mean?
The Gold Wing, sorry.
Yep.
And because it's so smooth, it's a little deceiving. That's the one thing I noticed. Like when I came home on a turnpike, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm moving. And you look down, you're like, oh, I guess I am.
Right. Right.
Oh, the other thing I meant to mention too, we were talking about differences. It also has an electronic windshield, which I've learned to love because I commute on it. So,
Sure.
in the summer, you can drop the windshield all the way down and pop it up when you're touring. The difference isn't, it's definitely a tactile difference because the Road Glide, especially the twin cam, oh my God, it felt alive. Like we were in a stop sign. It really felt like it was moving.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't hear the Road Glide or the Gold Wing. It's a quiet bike. You can hear it, but it's
Right.
not the same.
Right.
I feel like
You
you're
not-
driving a Tesla compared to the
Exactly.
Harley. Yeah.
Yep.
You're not going to be rev bombing anybody in traffic.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and I think I've always said that about riding a Harley as it compares to other style motorcycles. Harley is a visceral feeling when you ride it, right? You can feel it in your ass. You can feel it in your, and that's why Luke and I were talking about that one time when you do motor work and whatever to your bike, and everybody does what are your dyno numbers and all that. And dyno numbers to me are a pissing contest, right? What does it feel like when your ass is in the seat, right? And so what I'm hearing from you is it's a smaller motor, but because of the way that it's probably geared and it's a lighter bike, that it's probably going to feel faster, and it does have higher horsepower and higher torque, which is not uncommon with import motorcycles. Lots of import motorcycles have higher horsepower and higher torque than Harleys do. I mean, that's just a fact. Most of them have higher horsepower. I should say that. Yeah, Harley is traditionally kind of rules the torque game, but so interesting to me. And so you would describe it as being a more refined feeling than when you're riding the Gold Wing versus riding the Harley. Would that be an accurate?
Yeah, it's definitely a more refined bike. And the thing that I've noticed too is because that horizontally opposed engine is so smooth, it seems to me, and again, this is all perception.
Yep.
It doesn't take a much of beating on you. You don't have that, that constant, especially the drone in your ears. And I wear earplugs, but
Yep.
you certainly get more of that drone and that vibration. The smoothness, I think, really adds to the long distance aspect of the bike. But even on like back roads, it just feels so much more nimble.
Right.
But because you have the weight lower.
Right.
And you've got, but you also, you have to see too that I had 14-inch bars on a bike where these are stocks, so they're lower, so it's designed the way it's supposed to be from the factory. You're not changing pivot points.
Right. So, from that perspective, let's talk about some practicals. Gas mileage.
Gas mileage.
Is it
I
better?
want to say it's about the same.
About the same. Yeah, I think
I want to say it's in the 40s.
Yeah.
I don't really check that shit.
Yeah, I don't either, but I mean that's typical for.
But it does take regular, which is phenomenal. Because I was talking to my buddy Pete, and he's like, "Yeah, just so you know, the bike takes regular." I'm like, "What? For real?"
I would have never guessed that. I would have
you
guessed that at trivia night.
So regular or unleaded or just not
Regular.
premium.
89 octane.
Okay, so unleaded, just not the
Yeah.
premium gas. Okay, that's
So
so you're saving a little bit. I mean, it's getting the same gas mileage, and you're saving some money at the pump because you don't have to put premium gas in it, right? I mean, you go to California, premium gas is about $6 or $7, $8 a gallon right now. So
I can't imagine.
yeah, so I mean that's
You do have a smaller tank. You've got a tank that's about 5.5 gallons versus 6.
okay.
Okay, so there's a limit to that, but I don't know. Is it a limit?
Right. Well, what about wind protection?
Wind protection is good, especially with the aftermarket Clivery windshield, and
Yep.
you can adjust it. However, the bike is narrower, so to really get wind protection on your knees or to get element protection, you have to knee the tank.
Okay.
The bike is extremely thin from its cross profile. It is not a big bike, so even if you're shooting, sitting with your knees straight out, you're not touching the tank.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of weird. That's the one thing I did like with the Harley, because the tank was so bulbous. You know, you can kind of sits between you and you can wrap onto it.
Yeah.
I have tank grippers on mine, and even to hit those, you gotta come in pretty tight.
Okay.
Highway bar placement is difficult with that bike because the horizontally opposed engine sits out so far. You have to really find the right balance, and I haven't found that yet. I don't personally like having to get around the engine. It's really wide, especially because it's so close. So your legs feel like they're forced open rather than like with the limited, where if you put your feet out, they were out far enough that it really didn't bother you.
Okay.
I have 32-inch inseam legs, and like I have long legs.
Right.
I mean, everything's a give and take. I'll tell you what, I don't care who tells me this. Reverse is an absolute phenomenal thing to have on a motorcycle.
Oh, so it has reverse on it. Okay.
It has reverse.
Okay.
We took it out on the test ride, and I threw it in reverse. And I'm like, just hang on a second. She's like, what are you doing? And she's like, what's just happening? What got's in reverse? No, everybody should have reverse.
So, okay. So, to me, it's interesting. I actually expected, I kind of expected you to kind of drive the Harley over with a bus, but it's interesting that your pros and cons seem to, like, it seems like where one kind of outperforms in one area, the other one outperforms in another area, but it seems very subjective to the rider also. You know, because you really made these changes because you weren't comfortable or confident riding the bike, you know, but you kind of talk about that visceral feeling, how loud it was as being more, you know, it kind of gets you alive a little bit more, but this one feels more refined. So I think that's super, those are super interesting points, because I guess not really what I expected. What I really want to know now is, so we've known each other for, 5 or 6 years. We posted videos. We talked about it. We've talked about algorithms and all.
He said he sent me videos.
All the nerdy shit.
I don't want to see those videos, guys. When y'all are late at night texting one another.
Yeah. No. So, what was the community's response? So, besides the people that knew you, even the trolls, what was the community's response to you going away from Harley or selling your bike?
There were people that, were like, oh my, I mean, I had YouTubers straight up tell me, oh, it's going to kill your channel. Your channel's done. All the Harley people are going to leave. Well, I mean, my last video that I put out got over 100 new subscribers, and I would assume they're all Goldwing people, right? Because nobody's watching a video of a guy that's buying it, But I also do a lot of gear reviews, so I don't know that it's going to necessarily drop that much. And quite frankly, the gear that I review is high end enough that I think it speaks to that market. I don't know. A lot of people were telling me, oh, I had somebody tell me, oh, but the Road Glide was your dream bike. Why would you get rid of your dream bike? You kept saying that was the bike you always wanted. It's like, well, but we evolve. 3 years isn't really a long time, but if you're dealing with different challenges, it sure is. I mean, most people, I think the people that are entrenched in any camp, whether it's motorcycles, guns, cars, computers, you're never going to get them out of that. There's very few people that can look at the other side and argue both sides of the argument. There are definitely disadvantages to this bike as well as there's advantages. The people that complain the most are the people. The people that are going to complain the most are the same people that you and I talk about that are like, oh my God, the Harley changed their CEO. They're done. There's no way of coming back. They just want to complain.
Right.
And it's really, I think a lot of people that ride have only lived in one camp. And to me, it's just a bike. You know what I mean? I love it. And I've loved every bike I had, but it's just a bike. I'm not.
Well, just like you got people that are Ford people, and I'll never buy a Chevy. Why? Yeah, I mean, just because it's a Chevy, okay. So
I mean, it's like helmets, right? You have people that'll go off the wall, arguing that you only need to spend 75 hours on a helmet on Amazon, and then you have people like myself that have higher end helmets. I mean, it's like the funny thing that I thought with the Harley dealership was, if you're that upset that I changed, there's an issue, right? Because your showroom is full of bikes. I mean, packed full of bikes.
Right.
Why I don't. Yeah, I mean, people can get upset, and people have made their comments, but to me, it's you're not paying for it. It's my money. It's my bike.
exactly. You mentioned, or I'm sorry, Ryan asked about what was the community, what was their feedback or response, and people told you it's going to ruin your channel. Was any of that factor into your decision? Like, did you second guess at any point?
No, I mean, I'll be honest, and I don't like to say this because I don't want people that follow my channel or support my channel to take it the wrong way. But if YouTube died tomorrow and that was because of the bike I selected, because that's what I needed, so be it, right? Because the bike is not as much part of the channel as it used to be. I mean, quite frankly, I could have kept the Goldwing probably for a year. No one ever would have known that I switched bikes because most of my stuff is gear. I know a lot of people, and Ryan and I both know this, of people that, were afraid to buy something else, or they're chasing a trend. Where to me, it's kind of like, this is just a natural evolution, right? I'm 54 years old. I've reached a point where with my knee and things like that, things that work for my wife, we had to make a decision. This is part of life. Sure. You're either with that journey or you're not. I don't care. Well, I mean, I'll be straight up and honest. If my knee goes, I'm buying a Can-Am.
Sure.
I know, Ryan, calm down. It's going to be okay.
Well, here's the funny thing about that is that you mentioned this thing. You said, people were like, "Oh, that was your dream bike." Well, I got a new dream, right? I think that's the how I would look at it. You know what I mean?
At the time, it was.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. At the time, it was my dream bike, and now I have a new dream, right? I mean,
so it's my first wife,
right? I mean, I have a dream right now that I have a dream right now that I didn't have before the 2026s came out, and my dream is now all painted teal and black. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, listen.
Oh, that bike is sexy.
Some dreams turn to nightmares,
right?
And
some dreams turn to nightmares.
your ex-wife. So it happens.
Nah, she's a wonderful woman. In case she's listening, I'm only joking, babe.
I'm not. Anyway, it's not about mine. But I'm joking. I am actually joking. But things evolve, things change.
Everything evolves and changes, and I think that and you both have mentioned it, so from a safety standpoint, you have to realize that. You have to say, maybe this just isn't going to work, right? Because if I'm not comfortable, my wife's not comfortable. And then now we're not riding together. And the reason we bought a touring bike was to, even though we don't necessarily tour all the time, it's more comfortable. Like we went to see Mike Anders at the Christiana Mall. Him and his wife, we had dinner, and we were just tearing up the turnpike. And my wife's like, I cannot believe how smooth this bike is compared to the Road Glide. I was like, well, good, it works for you, because that's what I want to hear. If you tell me it sucks and we've only had it a month, we got a problem.
Right.
Sometimes you got to put your ego to the side.
What's 100%.
Safe, what makes sense, what's comfortable, whatever the case may be.
I mean, I know so many people that have bought bikes, and then a year later they're scared of them. I had a buddy like that. He bought a Harley, and he had a Harley, but he dropped it. He wrecked it before he even had his license. It's a great story. So what's the deal, right? You have a Harley, but you can't ride it, or you have a Busa, or you have whatever, and you're afraid of it. Well, that's why there's so many bikes that you can buy with 2,000 miles on them that are relatively brand new. I mean, for me, it just made sense. I'm not going to lie. I know myself well enough to know this is where I'm at. If it's sitting that much, and I've ridden, I think the last year that I had my Road Glide, I probably only rode 1,200 miles. And there was a lot of factors to that, and especially when one day was 500, which I think is kind of funny. And within the first 30 days of this bike, I rode more than that. So
right.
It's a new toy, yes.
There's a honeymoon phase for sure.
Yeah.
Yep,
but
right.
I ride it to work all the time, which is kind of wearing old because it's only 8 miles. Riding to work sometimes a little lame, but I think it's really about evolving and understanding that, that you may have been in this position 3 years ago. It's much like having a kid or having multiple kids. The car you had may not work after 2 kids, and get 3 and you're screwed. Like 3,
Yeah,
you
right.
got to start making
At
logistics.
some point, you probably need a bigger house, and at some point, you'll need a smaller house.
Right.
Just
Yep.
Well, and,
that was your dream house when you bought it.
right, and that's what I think that like the beauty of the Lowrider ST as an example is that to me it's like a mini touring bike, and the beauty about it is that fairing isn't full of all of the electronics and the amplifiers and all of the things that go into the other touring bikes, that it's a much lighter motorcycle, but you can still tour with it. Like Luke said, you still have a full fairing and you still have bags. And so it becomes a viable option. If you're aging and you still want to ride like that, you still want to kind of tour, you have an option for a touring bike, but it's much smaller, or a touring style bike, much smaller. Much like, that was the one thing that I found when I rode a Pan Am, is that the weight distribution was so different that the bike felt so much lighter. I felt like it was so much easier. Like I went with that bike, I got up to an intersection, my foot slipped, and I was way, 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 way past the tipping bike, where my Road King would have been laying on the ground, and I muscled the Pan Am right back up. Everybody around me, I could hear them on comms. They're like, "Oh shit, he's gonna drop it," and I muscled it back up. And it's because how the bike felt was entirely different. And so I think that changes. I do need to say one thing though. Now that we're kind of nearing, we're just over an hour, and I do want to say that the Motor Save podcast does not endorse selling your Harley Davidson to buy a Honda whatsoever.
Not at all. No.
But I do. If you want to call me, I will give my number. We will walk through this.
No,
this
I can do it.
So
I will say
do
the biggest downside is you can't get as many T-shirts, and they don't give out free bagels and stuff at your dealerships. They don't have the chicks in the bikinis.
yeah, well, I mean,
Of course, at my age,
I
no,
think
to give me
you should.
shirts.
I think you should for sure go to the next bike wash at the dealership this summer on your on your Goldwing, and have the bikini bike wash done to your Goldwing. I mean,
If you're not a member of the Hog chapter, you should be.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
that would also be awesome. You're going to Hog chapter and ride a Goldwing. I mean, does it get any better? I mean, there's some irony behind that, right? No, I think that Luke and I talked about this a little bit too, and I think that what you did could also be ushering in the opportunity that we have to develop and bring in new riders, which is you can still belong to the Cool Kids Club because you ride a motorcycle, not because you only ride a Harley, right? I think that it's important for everybody to know that, what I like about what you said, Bry, is exactly why I ride what I ride, right? I ride a Harley because I want to ride a Harley, because that's what I grew up on and that's what I know, and not because I when I'm disparaging another brand, or the disclaimer I just put out that the Motor State podcast does not endorse selling your Harley Davidson for a Honda.
That's a shirt waiting to have.
Right. That's all about it's all in good fun, right? Because I will ride with somebody who's riding a non-Harley. I don't care, right? I would much rather ride with a group of like-minded individuals that are riding the bikes that they want to ride, rather than riding with a bunch of Harley riders that I hate. You know what I mean? So from my perspective, it's the consummate, or the thing like ride your ride. That also includes the type of motorcycle that you're riding, right? I think that's very important. I think that your decision, like as you talk through that process to me, or as you were talking through that process to Luke and I found it to be very, very different than the conversation I thought we were going to have, because it was funny to me, because I really expected you to have like a laundry list of things that you loved about your new bike and hated about your other bike, and that was part of the decision. And so but I love that. I love that my expectation was different than the reality of it. That, honestly, that the bikes are a lot closer together than we think they are, right? And
I would.
the decisions that you made to make the changes were more about, the physical limitations you were feeling, wanting to continue to ride more, and recognizing that hanging on to that bike was not going to facilitate more riding for you.
I think if you look at the Goldwing, the full blown touring class of Harley Davidson and BMW, I don't know that you can go wrong. I don't think you could. Is it going to work for that individual? Maybe not. But I mean, holistically, between those three things, I don't know how you can go wrong. They're all premium bikes. They're all, they're all. They are what they are. It's like buying a 1250 or 1300 GS, right? You can tour around the world with it. You are the limitation, not the bike. Sure. No, I don't see the value in bashing, Harley. I don't see. I think the opposite. I think as motorcyclists, we need to look at other things and say, well, why is this better, right? Because I think to have a valid argument, you need to have tried something else. And if you haven't, your argument's invalid.
Sure.
People will tell you that the XYZ helmet, because that's my nerd thing, is the best helmet in the world. Okay, well, what other brands have you tried? Well, I haven't. Well, then is this a real argument?
Well, let me ask you something, though, on the Goldwing. Is there anything that you wish that Goldwing had that was on your Harley?
Crash protection.
You did mention that earlier.
Yeah, you did. You
sure.
did mention that, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't.
And highway peg placement.
And highway peg placement. It's weird. The one thing I loved about the Road Glide was that I could turn the dash off and still have the speedo, or I could flip around into the settings and have the speedo up and just the speedo. You can't do that with the Goldwing. You can't turn off the display, so it's always there. So you're either at the landing page or you're going to be running CarPlay or something like that. I mean, I understand that you're bing a bike with electronics, but sometimes it's just cool to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can turn your radio off on your car, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to be said for making it simple. I don't know if there would be anything else. I mean, the storage, there's no denying the storage of the Harley Davidson is so much better. I mean, you can just carry so much more stuff. However, in carrying that stuff, now you have the extra weight. Right. So it becomes counterproductive. Yeah, you can carry it, but now your bike's almost 100 pounds heavier and you can carry another 30 pounds or, I don't know, make a number up. So it becomes counterproductive for that. The thing that I would like to see, and I don't know you could do it with the design that they did. I miss the saddlebags flipping up on the top instead of having the clamshell. Clamshell cases are difficult.
Sure.
I've never been a fan, but it is what it is. I mean,
Right.
that and BMW both have the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you knew that buying it, right? That was
it wasn't like it was a surprise. And my KLR had the same thing because I had Pelicans on it. I don't know that there's anything that I miss. I mean, honestly, the biggest difference is the weight and having reverse. It's easier to manage.
What about one of the things I was curious about is safety issues. What about lighting, brakes, that kind of stuff? How do they compare?
The lighting is good. There is aftermarket. Ciro makes Ciro's sister brand, Gold Strike 3D.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. So Ciro does make a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Ciro makes lights. I haven't put anything on. I have a bunch sitting in my trailer waiting to go on. The lighting is good. I haven't had an issue. You've got the turn signals up in the mirrors, which is really nice because you're putting the light up where I can see it. The downside of what Honda did is they do not have a light in the tour pack. I think that's a huge miss. I don't.
That's
to
surprising.
me. Yeah, to me, any light that's eye level is where I want it. Ciro does make that. I have it. I want to put it on the bike.
There's no light. You mean on like a brake light on the tour pack? There's no light.
Correct.
On the tour
There's nothing.
Oh, that's a huge miss. That is.
Yeah.
Because you're right about that. Because that's from a safety perspective. That's one thing I've always said is if you have a tour pack on your bike, and you're going to use it for touring, throw the light on there, even if you don't use it all the time, because you can even disconnect it or whatever, because it really does make you so much more visible. And like I did the smoked light on mine, so like unless you're really paying attention, you don't even know. You know, when my bike is parked, it doesn't look like a bright shiny red light on the back. It's all black. So yeah, I you know, that's a pretty big miss. What about braking? How is stopping
Braking is
power?
phenomenal.
Okay. Would you say it's better? Would you say it's better than the Road Glide?
I would say it's better, but it's also lighter. But the linked braking works better. I can use my front brake and nothing else. The Harley, I never had luck with that.
Right.
The Harley was always nosediving really heavy when I did that.
Okay.
I like that function because it just makes it a little. I mean, obviously everything becomes muscle memory, but you can, you know, I can use the front brake in traffic and just kind of mosey through.
All right. Is it an automatic or is it clutch?
It's clutch.
Okay.
It's funny enough, the clutch, I believe, is the least selling. The DCT, their automatic version, is the best selling Goldwing, as far as I know. And it makes sense because it's a touring bike. Like, do you really need to shift that much on a touring bike? Is that really what you're looking for?
Right.
Maybe you are, maybe you aren't.
Right.
It was really hard to find a 6-speed.
Right.
At least in my area. And again, my area is my area. So.
Right. If you have that performance bagger like Luke does, and you're just banging through the gears, you need to have that clutch so you can just, you know.
I don't need no clutch. I don't need no brakes. I'm all go, man.
I'm all go.
Gas and ass. Here we go.
All gas, no brake, baby. I think that's something I'd like to see with Harley. I'd love to see Harley come out with an automatic transmission. They'll never do it, but I think it'd be kind of cool.
Man, you know how many people would lose their fucking mind?
Oh
if
my
they could
God.
do that
It's every
automatic?
year. Who cares?
Oh, I know. I would think I would laugh. I would laugh.
Here's my thing, and I've said this before, and I'll say this about any brand. I'm not saying anything no one's ever heard before. If you think that they're listening to you versus their market and what they're making and their profit, you know, like if you came out with it and it sold, why not?
Think about this, Luke. I've actually thought about this, and I thought that this would be amazing. Think about how clean a handlebar setup could be if it was an automatic with no clutch and it had linked brakes and no front brake, and your back brake pedal ran both your front and back brake on your bike. Think about how clean that whole bar setup could be, and if you had that one digital gauge, and then if they did it like on, rather than the touring bikes, if they did it on a soft tail, how awesomely clean would that front end of that bike look with nothing on the bars? And you just had like a set of just super awesome bars, moto bars, whatever it was, and there was nothing on them. That would be
pretty cool.
It would be really cool. It'd be a cool look. But anyway, I digress. Hey, Bri, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
My house.
New Jersey.
So
And his address is
If you wanna hunt down Bri because he got rid of his Harley, where can they find you on the
right.
socials?
So I'm going to be all my social medias are BrytheBiker. My YouTube channel is BrytheBiker at BrytheBiker, one word, and my Instagram is, I want to say it's Bry-Biker Bry-the-biker, but those are the two ones that I'm mainly on.
Yeah.
I don't want to say something about your Instagram. I really appreciate the music selection that you have in your reels and posts.
Well, thank you.
I mean, Run DMC, Turnpike Troubadours.
Oh, Turnpike
DC,
Troubadours are phenomenal.
GNR. So I'll tell you a quick fun story about Turnpike. 2013, I'm at a St. Louis Cardinals game, and they had a guy playing. I don't remember if he was playing first base or playing somewhere in the infield, named Matt Carpenter. And his first walk-up song was a Cody Jinks song. Second one was Long Hot Summer Day by Turnpike.
Nice.
And I didn't know who they were. And so I Shazammed it. And in between innings, like, all right, Turnpike. I look them up. Oh, they're playing here tomorrow night. Cool. I'm going. Me and a venue that holds 250 people. I was here to my screen, arm's reach from Evan Faulkner. And Jason Eady opened up for him. It was my favorite show I've ever been to. It was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge music fan.
Those guys are awesome. But I do, being a big country music person, I mean, supporting Aaron Vaillancourt tonight, but yeah, I saw Turnpike. I was like, oh, here we go. And the
Yeah.
GNR and everything else, something in the mix of it. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
So everybody out there, get out there. If you're a YouTube fan, follow Brian on YouTube. He's got a shit ton of Harley content. He's got a shit ton of gear reviews, helmet reviews. He has a little bit of everything out there. Like I said, Brian and I go way back. I'm still using a camera I bought from him 3 years ago. Still using it to this day.
Aw.
Oh, look at that big old heart! Now it's been great. We have
Yes.
we've been been friends for a long time and have tried to meet up a couple times, and we will someday for sure meet in person.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so get out and follow him on the socials, follow him on Instagram, follow him on YouTube. And like we always say, if you like what we're doing here, support us on YouTube, support us on Instagram. Get out and follow the Motor Save podcast. Follow our if you really like what we're doing, you could join our Patreon, and that'll give you backstage pass. That'll give you
Because this shit ain't free.
yeah, because this shit ain't free for sure. Yep, and
God, no, it ain't.
and that shirt, I think it done sold out. Has that been removed from the list, Luke?
It gone. It's gone.
It gone.
Limit-
So no more limited
limited
edition.
edition.
But we do have our winter shit out, so get out there and take a look. I personally have a beanie, and it's awesome.
It's
I
a
wore it just
toboggan.
the other day.
It's a toboggan.
I mean,
It's
it
not-
depends
it's
on what
not a
side of
beanie.
the toboggan is. What you use to go down the hill. Okay,
No, it's a sled. What the fuck?
a sled has a motor in it where we're at, but I'm just saying.
I'm from the south, man. We ain't got no snow down there. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, hey, Bry, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
As
Thank
always,
you.
I appreciate your candor. I appreciate your honesty. Thank you for surprising me in your kind of your take on the whole thing. Just to be clear, the Motor Save podcast does not endorse selling your Harley Davidson for a Honda.
But feel free to email me if you have going questions.
Yeah. If you can,
But if
email
you
that.
are, do it at a Harley dealership because
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Oh
'Cause
my
it's-
God, it's the
because it's
best.
a great experience. Yeah, it's a great.
They're writing my paperwork up. I was eating my free bagel, like bitch.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see y'all next week. Bry, hang on for a couple minutes. We'll see y'all out next week.
Do.
See y'all.
See you, buddy.
We're out.